Hello, it's been a long time since I have recorded any audio for anything. So this, we're about to doing paper drag, which is back when I used to do recordings. Anyways, so we're doing this again. So I'm going to talk about my look, what I did, why I did it, type things. This is all digital. I didn't do any traditional sketching for this one at all. So this is the process from start to finish. I did it all in one sitting. I think it was about an hour overall. Probably, I think the give or take, with me taking frequent social media breaks because I can't concentrate on anything for more than about 20 seconds. But yeah, so I knew what I wanted to do from the offset with this once I saw it was a limited colour challenge, which was tartan, and the base inspiration where it was a Vivienne Westwood dress. There's like a red tartan, it's got this big red heart on it. I tried to find pictures of it, but I don't think I was googling very efficiently. But then I reread the Audition post and discovered that we had colour palettes given to us, and I was done. So I tried to rethink it. You'll see a lot of the sketches had this kind of patchwork, handkerchief style look to it because I wanted that kind of vibe, but the more I drew it, the less I was like, I'm not faffing it. So I went back to like Pinterest to have a little bit more of a flick through. A lot of the initial inspiration for this was like the Tokyo Street Snap stuff, because they do a lot of really interesting stuff with tartan. And then I ended up in big dresses. I love big dresses, I love big flowing dresses. Unfortunately, I'm short, I can't wear them. But I guess hypothetical Winnie is probably like 7 foot tall. And I still wanted to keep that tiered look and that big look. So you can see here I'm lining it, and I've got these like big kind of jellyfish tiers with ruffles on the bottom. I drew so many ruffles for this look. You can actually see me having a struggle, I think, with the third tier's ruffles, and that's just how I was drawing it at a slightly weird size. In terms of like, I don't know, my brain was just like, I don't know how to do this. As you can see, like I raised it and was like, I don't know what I'm doing. But I didn't do too much referencing beyond just like looking at stuff and having a vibe for like what kind of shape I wanted. It does end up with a bit of a clown vibe, which is I did want from the beginning. The makeup definitely takes it there a bit more. But yeah, it's been kind of weird drawing for paper drag again, but what can you do? I haven't drawn Winnie in a while, so drawing her again was fun. She is like 5 years old now as a character, which is quite bizarre. So you can see here I've dragged some tartan references in. I did debate which colours I wanted to use. The pink, in theory, would have been a more obvious replacement for the red, but I just found it a little bit too neon for the vibe I was going for, which was a little bit more, I don't want to say like subdued, because that's probably not the right word, but I just didn't want to use the pink. So I ended up using the like true blue and the yellow, as I've seen some really cool blue-yellow tartans before, and I was like, yeah, I can work with blue-yellow tartan. So I have two references up, which I use for my inspiration of the different tiers. The big tiers, there's two different patterns. There's the yellow base pattern and the blue base pattern. Everything in the look is done with the 4 colours, with the exception of Winnie's skin and makeup, just on like different opacity and different layer styles. I'd say that's definitely something that digital artists probably had an advantage over traditional artists in this kind of limited colour palette challenge, just because we can much easier manipulate the colours to look and act differently, whereas if you're working traditionally, there's definitely, it's doable, of course it's doable, but it's definitely like you can't just stick a layer on multiply or like color dodge to create a different effect with that particular color, which is what you can see me doing a lot of with the tartans. So stuff's on lower opacity, stuff's on multiply to create that layering effect. And it's definitely something that I played with when I was doing shading, which I do very basic shading, because the dress is so patterned, like you don't want detailed shading particularly, or at least I don't, because I feel like if you go too far over, you'll end up distracting from the patterns, particularly because it's different patterns all over the place. So you've got the tiers of the dress, and then the ruffles are their own pattern as well. Each one is its own pattern, and yeah, so I do very basic shading just to give it a bit of depth, and I do a little bit of rim highlight as well, just to kind of round it all together. But I didn't really focus too much on that because I didn't want it to take away from the pattern. I'm not a particularly neat colorer because I colour from a distance, like I very rarely zoom in. You can see I've zoomed in on the face here to do our makeup, but generally speaking I don't do a lot of work close in. It is a good thing and a bad thing. It's mostly because I post to Instagram, and generally speaking Instagram ruins your images and there's not much point. But I mean, like, I do zoom in. You'll see after I shade, I do go in and neaten it up a little bit. Just in places, just to make it a bit neater. Yeah. It's something I wanted to keep simple, so all the tartan showed through. You know, I auditioned for Oliver, and it's been so many years since I've done paper drag. It's a very weird thing again, that's for sure. But you know, it's fun. It's, you know, prompt-based fashion looks are some of my favourite things to do. And, you know, why not do it again? So you can see here, I'm starting to paint over, so giving her puffs some actual puff. I'm using the different colours to shade it in, shading in her lips, doing some edits just here and there. I changed my line colour to blue. And then, yeah, I'm doing some extra like rim lighting, a little bit of extra shading, just to give it a little bit more dimension without really overpowering the look. I do the same adjustment layers on all my pictures, which is generally a noise layer and a layer of canvas texture. The circles are something that I like to do when looks are this big, because it lets you kind of zoom in and see the different details. There's not like a super lot in this one that's that interesting, but it just kind of makes the look feel a bit more finessed. Like in later looks, it will definitely be more important to me, just because I sometimes spend too much time detailing things. So this is the finished look. You can see it's got a little bit of texture, which is my favourite thing. But no, I mean, I still really like this look. It's a big puffy tartan dress that actually, if I could wear, I'd wear it. So thank you all for watching. These will be weekly, in theory, give or take when I have time to record. But yeah, I will see you all next week, and go visit the Instagram. It will be linked in the description.